Hello everybody, Mr. Pilgrim here, coming at you with the 4th video in our Platinum Trophy Guide, and that is going to be going over Ada Wong's campaign. Like always, we're going to be going through getting all these serpent emblems, and if there's any specific trophies to talk about, which I believe there's only one for Ada's, and that'll be towards one of the later stages, and I will go into detail of that when the time comes. But once you have gone through this video and completed Ada's campaign, you should have 2 extra trophies on top of that, one for completing the game on amateur and one for completing the game on normal. Now, like always, we'll just jump right into it, and I'll see you all in the next one. Sorry, not in the next one. We'll just jump right into the video, and I'll see you at the first serpent emblem. Alright, so the first emblem that you'll find is just after the area where Ada will point out that there's an alarm. You'll need to come down this hallway and head toward the main objective, and as you'll see, it'll be right there, clear as day. So now I can move on to emblem number 2. Alright, so the next emblem will be found when you need to find an escape vehicle. This will be a very specific scene, so don't worry about not finding it. As you're going through, you'll find that there's this pillar right here, and boom, right in front of you. So I can move on to emblem number 3. Alright, so the next emblem that you can find is going to be after you have to navigate through the underwater area here. Water trying to bring you down. You basically have to maneuver around the area with some weird tank controls. But just up this ladder, you will find the emblem. You'll have to crawl through this area real quick. There should be an enemy on the ceiling, and just to the left is the emblem. We're just going to skip him and move on. Alright, the last emblem of Chapter 4 will be found once you're on this sideways hallway. You'll basically just jump through. There should be this wasp enemy, but if you come into this room right here and turn around, you will find it. Now I can move on to Chapter 2. Alright, so the first serpent emblem of Chapter 2 is going to be pretty close to the start. If you come around to this little grave site, you'll find it. Now I can move on to number 2. Alright, the second emblem will be after you go through all the puzzles and finally open this door. If you drop down here, you can immediately turn around and find the next emblem. Alright, so the next emblem that you can earn will be after the elevator ride down with the boss fight with Deborah. So if you come in here, you'll see that there's that big fat guy. And then if you come over to this very specific spot, as you'll see, is where you'll find emblem number 3. Alright, so the next emblem that you'll find will be close to where we just were. So you'll basically have to... Pardon that guy for interrupting so rudely. And this guy. But basically you'll have to come over here. And you'll find that there's a pole that you'll have to jump down, as you'll see right here. If you immediately turn around, you'll find the last emblem of Chapter 2. Alright, so the first emblem of Chapter 3 can be found towards the start after you do the zip line. You'll have a bunch of stalls and vending areas that you'll see right here. There'll be a cutscene of some dudes jumping around, as you'll see. And you'll see the emblem right there on the left. So all you have to do is just come into this stall right here, and boom, just like that, first emblem done. Alright, now the second emblem will just be a little bit away from that. You'll have this burning van. There'll be another cutscene of some civilians getting mowed down. But what you basically want to do is just kind of get rid of this guy here. Come over here around to the other side of the van, and you will find the second emblem. Alright, so the next emblem that you'll be able to get will be during the bus ride incident. As you'll see here, the bus will come to a stop, and if you look right here, you'll find the emblem. Alright, so the last emblem of Chapter 3 is going to be after the plane crash. You'll see You'll eventually have a cutscene that will take you right so. So you'll skip and you'll be in this little apartment area. So you'll come in here and just over here to the right, you will find it at the bottom of the stairs. Now we're going to be moving on to Chapter 4. Now Chapter 4 is that one chapter I mentioned before that will talk about another trophy as well. So I'll see you once we're there. Alright, so coming right up is going to be the section I'll talk about, and this is the sneaking around trophy. It's a hidden trophy, and what you have to do is you'll have to get through this next area without getting caught or alerting any alarms. Now this can be a little tricky at times, but basically what you have to do is you have to full on just make it through the area. There are 4 enemies that you will have to actually defeat.
No time to explain, though.
So the best way to do that is simply just use your crossbow.
I'd rather avoid these guys. Wonder if there's another way.
So the best thing that you have to do is when you're outside, there will also be these spotlights. So do be careful of that.
I prefer to stay out of the spotlight.
So what you'll do is you'll have to run around here, come over to this little corner, and you'll jump up. And as well as that, you will also have your first serpent emblem. So do keep that in mind. And this whole time you will have to be very quiet. So using the crossbow is necessary. There are a total of 4 enemies that you will have to actually defeat. So when going through this area, I highly recommend just checking all your corners. But if done correctly, you will get the trophy sneaking around. Now I'm going to go through this whole section, so do keep that in mind.
Thanks for keeping them busy, fellas. I'll see you around.
As you'll see, this is kind of similar to the same thing that was going on when you were going through as Chris's campaign. Now, if you do happen to fail this, you can restart the checkpoint and try again. So do keep that in mind. Luckily, it's not too far into the actual stage itself. Now, this is, I'm sure, where the part it gets a little tricky. Just to be safe, we'll take this guy out. And before going around any corners, it's best to always just take a sneak peek. There is this bug enemy in the way. Can avoid them though, so do keep that in mind. When you get to here, you'll eventually have another spotlight to have to run away from. You can use the specific areas to avoid it and wait for it to come back. As you'll see, like so. And that will be the second searchlight avoided. As you'll see, that there, I got spotted, so I will have to restart the checkpoint. As you can see, my terrible aim is not going to help me at all. Like I said, before going around any corners and things like that, just keep an eye out. Try and take him out.
Like cockroaches.
There'll be a second one. Take him out as well. In total, should only need 4 crossbow bolts. But I do believe that we are almost done. And if I remember correctly, once you get through this, once you make it to a cutscene, is where you will be a-okay and will get the trophy. So during this you should get it, or if not, a little bit after. And if not, like I said, you will have to restart the area. So now I can move on to getting the serpent emblem itself. Alright, so the second serpent emblem can be found just short after where we just were. Once you drop down, there'll be this one dude to take out, as you'll see right there. And just to our left in this locker will be the second emblem. So now I can move on to emblem number 3. Alright, so shortly after the cutscene between Ada and Ada, I somehow ended up getting the trophy for sneaking around. It's weird. But as you'll see, just after that you'll find the third serpent emblem, and now we can move on to serpent emblem number 4 of chapter 4. Alright, so the last emblem will be after this door that you'll have to open up. It's the first door that you'll encounter like that, so don't worry. You'll have this weird face that will get in the way and try and hurt you, but just to the left of it will be the emblem right here. Now I can move on to chapter 5. Alright, so the first emblem that you can get of chapter 5 is going to be at the very start here after the cutscene, where you save Leon and Helena. In this truck bed right here is where the first emblem will be.
You're like a personal bodyguard, Mr.
Alright, so the next emblem can be earned during the one-on-one dogfight with this other chopper. As you'll see, it is just here to the right. Now we can move on to the third emblem. Alright, so the next emblem that you can get in chapter 5 is going to be at this little tower specifically that has this guy with dynamite. So what you want to do is actually swing around behind the building and you'll find it right there. Pretty straightforward, I do say so myself. Now we can move on to the last emblem. Alright, so the last and final emblem that you can get is going to be shortly after landing your helicopter. You'll come across this zip line, and then just off to the right, as you'll see right here, is the emblem itself. And that will be all 80 emblems, and as always, that will get you the heirlooms trophy, which is pretty cool. But as always, this has been Mr. Pilgrim, and I will see you all in the next one. Like always, I do hope that these videos are helpful, informative, or at least a guide in some sense.
Traces of the theft of
but
my
as always,
identity.
I will see you all in the next one.